Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and now here I am with my review of number 2 on this list of the next top 10 best hand-drawn animated Disney movies, which is Lilo and Stitch. So, yeah, this is probably a film that a lot of people would probably put in their top 10 best hand-drawn animated Disney films, and like I said in my last review, like the last few films I do have in this list are ones that I really was tempted to put on the first list I did a couple of years ago. So yeah, these last few films have just like barely missed making the first list. So yeah, I just like pushed these off like just barely. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch, like this is like a really good film. Yeah, I mean, I remember like all the trailers that they had for this film where it showed like Stitch like crashing some other like famous anime Disney films. Yeah, they had like Stitch crashing like famous scenes from like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and The Lion King. Yeah, they had like some real funny trailers like that. I'll put like a video of all those trailers down in the description if you want to see them. Like those trailers were like really funny, and so yeah, I and they had like other like normal trailers for this film as well. And yeah, the film did look like really good, so I was like really like excited to see the film. And I saw the film when it came out, and yeah, the film was like really good. I mean, yeah, we've kind of like seen this type of story done before. I mean, this is basically kind of like an E.T. style story where like just an alien from another galaxy and stuff just like comes crashing down onto Earth, and yeah, it's basically like he ends up like befriending humans, and yeah, just the rest is history, right? Yeah, the rest of the film is basically just like him just kind of just adapting to the Earth and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like the story that this film is telling, but it's not really just focused on like the alien and like really like adapting to the Earth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do have more to it than that. I mean, like I watched Nostalgia Critics at Disney Summer Review for this movie, and he says just like what he really does love about this film is just like the connection in the film between Lilo and Nani, and yeah, the connection between like Lilo and Nani, like two sisters, it is done like really great in this film. I mean, just you can see like how this film is done is like the parents are like dead, of course. I mean, it's Disney film, dead parents, right? But it's interesting, like it's not just like they have one dead parent, like both parents are dead, and so yeah, Nani, the older sister, is now the guardian of the younger sister, Lilo, and yeah, it's shown that like they are like kind of like a Lilo really is like not really like listening to Nani when this film starts, as if she is a parent, like she's just basically just like trying to act like Nani's not really her boss. But then, like as the film goes on, it does show like Lilo and Nani like do like form a much better connection with each other, and it show like this film is saying that if Nani is not actually capable of really supporting Lilo, Lilo could be taken away, and so yeah, yeah, and basically like throughout this film, it's just really like Nani like forming like a really good better connection with Lilo, and really just depending on like if she can actually like prove that she is actually able to support Lilo, she could keep her. Otherwise, like Lilo could have been taken away. So yeah, I do like that about this film. Also, I mean, yeah, just the the story between Lilo and Nani, it is actually like told really well, and I really do like it a lot. And yeah, we also do, of course, like have the stuff with like Stitch and the other aliens. Like, uh, Stitch is like a he was made as like a um, in a genetic experiment creation from another alien. And apparently, like it was an illegal creation, and then like Stitch ends up like escaping to Earth, and so then yeah, the other aliens are then like sent down to Earth to try to capture him, and so yeah, that's really what the other story part of this film is just how like it's just like Stitch is like being hunted down by the other aliens to try to be recaptured. So yeah, there's that. And Natasha Gottega said like for that part of the film, he felt like that stuff is just like kind of okay. I mean, really what he likes more about this film is the connection with Lilo and Nani, and he just feels like the stuff with the aliens is just okay. But me personally, I still do really do enjoy the stuff with like Stitch and the other aliens. Like I think that gets really enjoyable too. I mean, it's not like the majority of this film is mainly just like with Lilo, Nani, and Stitch. Like it's shown how there is the connection forming between Lilo and Nani, and also of course like by the title Lilo and Stitch. Like it also does form like a big connection and friendship with Stitch and Lilo because like Stitch is like not actually like he doesn't actually reveal to Lilo like what he really is until like the last 20 minutes or so in the film. So yeah, most of this film like Lilo really does not know what Stitch really is. So yeah, they do form a bond with each other like that. So yeah, yeah, this film does like really have some like real funny scenes to it. Like there are just like a lot of things in this film that really do just like get like tons of laughs out of me. Just like just die laughing at a bunch of scenes in here. Like it's really like mainly with Stitch. Like there's a bunch of stuff Stitch does in this film that is just really funny. Just how like Stitch is like he really doesn't know too much about the Earth and the human life. So yeah, Stitch ends up like is like acting as a real rambunctious animal in this film, and he just acts like totally crazy and stuff. And it's really like because of the stuff Stitch does that really makes like this a social worker concerned that Lilo may not like Nani may not be able to actually support Lilo. So yeah, Stitch actually does kind of like put like Nani and Lilo in like a conflict like that. But yeah, as time goes on, like Stitch does like see kind of like what he's really doing and stuff, and yeah, it just is shown like throughout this film how Stitch really is not like he's not really a troublemaker, but because like those other aliens are hunting him down, it's like making him look like one, and so yeah, and it's because of that that really makes it seem like Nani won't be able to really provide for Lilo and stuff, and so yeah, it really just does put Lilo and Nani in the conflict of possibly being separated from each other. So yeah, that story is like really done like really well in this film, and I really do like it a lot, and this film really is like really good. Also, I mean, yeah, this film like came out like this was one of the first films, well, one of the early films that was released after the Disney Renaissance. But yeah, this film really does seem like a film that really would like fit right into the Disney Renaissance. I mean, it really is. This film really was looked at by a lot of people to like really be like a real classic, and people have really like loved this film, and this film really has like formed a big following. Over the years, and yeah, of course, like this film would like lead to like a huge franchise at Disney. Like it ended up like spawning like three sequels to this film. Well, one is was like seemed like a real direct sequel, and while the other two just really seemed like a beginning and an ending to like the uh, a TV show that was on the Disney Channel of Lilo and Stitch that was on TV, and so yeah, the other two sequels really just seemed like one seemed like the start of that, and the other was the ending. So yeah, but still, regardless, I mean, this film really has like made like a huge franchise on with Disney with like these movies and the show and stuff. So yeah, people really did like really make give a big following for this film. So yeah, if so it has done that, and yeah, the film really is like a really good film. I do give this film 3.5 stars out of 4. I mean, I really, was like really so tempted to put this on my first list, but yeah, it just like barely missed like the yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of the films that I really have like around here, like as I'm approaching like the 10 like I had in my first list, like it's just like really close, and it was like really like hard to like choose which one was better. But yeah, it is still like a real good film nonetheless, and I am like glad that I can now like talk about it like this now. So yeah, it is a really good film. All right, so yeah, let me just get right into it. All right, so as the film opens up in somewhere in space, it's shown that Dr. Jumbo Jukiba. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure actually how to pronounce it. Yeah, he ends up like being arrested for the illegal genetic experimentation by the Galactic Federation, and his creation, Experiment 626, was like a small sentient creature, and it showed that he had like unparalleled strength and intelligence, and but also like like what caused some chaos. So he ended up like being in prison, and then their plan was just to have experiment 626 be placed in exile on a des- desert asteroid, but he 626 was able to escape, and then he ended up like hijacking another spaceship, and then yeah, he then like headed towards the Earth. Earth, yeah. And yeah, he then ended up like crashing down on Kauai, like the island in Hawaii and stuff, and in Kauai, it like showed like Lilo and Nani were like living together, and like as I was saying earlier, like they really like don't like really like uh Lilo really doesn't like listen to Nani all the time, and yeah, it's just like really stressing Nani out and stuff. And yeah, it showed how Lilo really was not really like the best behaved. Like it showed that she actually did get into a fight with another girl as during like their hula dance lesson and stuff. And yeah, Lilo of course like was like kind of like being really naughty towards Nani. Yeah. And meanwhile, like the social worker, Cobra Bubbles, who really did seem like kind of like a spy and stuff, as if like like was leading on to making us think like he was like possibly the villain and stuff, but it was shown that he wasn't, and he was just like really a real mysterious type of person. Yeah, yeah, and as he like was like observing like the uh, relationship with Lilo and Nani, like he had some concern that Nani wouldn't actually be able to really provide for Lilo, and Lilo could possibly be taken away from her. So yeah, and then yeah, eventually the experiment 626, as he landed on Earth, he ended up like being unconscious by some other trucks, and so then he was then taken to the animal shelter, and then yeah, once the Grand Council woman aboard the Galactic Federation found out about 626 on Earth, she then sent Jumba and also like the expert on Earth, Agent Pleakley, down to Earth to capture 626. And then yeah, in order to like kind of like tone down Lilo's grief, then Nani like decided to let Lilo adopt a dog, and so then the 626 then like was like in the shelter, and it showed that the other dogs were like really scared of him, and then it showed like how they were all like trying to hide from him, and then it showed then he 626 then was posing as a dog, like he kind of got rid of some of his alien appearance, like he like had the antennas on top of his head like sucked in, and a couple of his limbs were brought in also, and so yeah, just making him look more like a type of dog. And so then and yeah, Lilo then met him, and well, of course like she like took a keen to him, and so then she decided to name him Stitch and adopt him. Yeah, so yeah, and Nani and like the worker at the shelter were kind of against it, but Lilo was insistent on adopting him, and so then yeah, Nani then allowed Lilo to adopt Stitch. Yeah, and as Lilo was just like showing Stitch the island, and like later that night, as Nani was working at the restaurant as a restaurant as a waitress, it showed that Jumba and Pleakley were like there also, and they were like trying to like have an attempt to capture Stitch, Hitch in an effort, but yeah, they like ended up like Stitch like recognized who they were, and then yeah, like some chaos ensued between like Stitch and Jumba and Pleakley, and so then yeah, and of course like the it was like blamed on Stitch, making it seem like Stitch was the cause of the whole thing. And then yeah, it ended up like resulting in Nani really being fired from her job and stuff. And then yeah, that night, as a Lilo like was just like trying to like show a Stitch her room, and she gave him his own bed, like um Stitch then was just like kind of going crazy, and then Lilo was just like trying to tell Stitch that he should make something for himself, and then Stitch then had like was used a bunch of like Lilo's books and toys and stuff to like make a miniature model of San Francisco, and then yeah, this is like I think this is like the funniest scene in the movie here. Stitch was just like, he was like imitating Godzilla and just destroying the city. Yeah, I mean, every time I watch that scene, it just makes me laugh so hard. I just die laughing at that scene. It's just so hilarious. Seeing Stitch is basically going crazy and acting as Godzilla. Yeah, it's just like so hilarious, and I die laughing every time I see that scene. Yeah. And then, yeah, the next morning, Cobra then like paid another visit to Nani and basically like was telling Nani that she if she doesn't find another job, then like he'll have no choice but to take Lilo and really just place her in a foster family. And so then yeah, it showed that Nani was like trying to look search for another job, but she brought Lilo and Stitch with her, and of course like because of all Stitch's antics to pretty much evade Jumbo and Pleakley, like just Nani had absolutely no luck in finding any other jobs. And so then later on, Nani's friend David then just took Nani and Lilo to the beach for just a day to just relax, really. And it showed like they were surfing and stuff and building sandcastles and all that. And yeah, it kind of showed how Stitch was kind of like feeling left out because really like none of the attention was really on him. Like they really didn't do anything with him. It was really just the three of them. And so then, yeah, Stitch then like was riding away with Lilo and Nani, and then like Jumbo was there too, and then he tried to capture Stitch again, and they pulled like Stitch underwater, and it made like Nani wipe out, and then like Stitch inadvertently like ended up like dragging Lilo down with her, and Nani and David ended up like recovering Lilo and Stitch as well after Stitch ended up escaping from Jumba and Pleakley again. And yeah, but then yeah, Cobra like was witnessing that entire thing, and of course like it seemed that Stitch caused it again, and it was basically, and then he just basically was telling Nani that while she is like doing the best job she can, like he has no choice but to take Lilo away. And so then yeah, Lilo and Nani like really sadly just left, and then yeah, and after like Stitch like kind of just was seeing like really like what had happened really because of what it seemed he was causing, and even like David made a comment to Stitch saying that it looked like Lilo and Nani may have had a chance, but then Stitch came along, and so then yeah, Stitch just had like so much guilt for like basically feeling that he caused all this, and so Stitch ended up like running away, and then that next morning, the councilwoman then like finally just decided to relieve Jumbo and Pleakley of the assignment to capture 626, and then she gave it to like the she gave it to Captain Gant 2, who was kind of like the second in command of the Galactic Federation, and so then she sent him down to try to capture 626. But Jumbo was still like let down to pursue go after a Stitch with less covert methods. Yeah, and then yeah, and later on, David actually told Nani that she may actually have an opportunity at a job, and as Nanny then Nani like headed out to pursue it, then it showed Stitch was like hiding in nearby woods, and then like it showed Jumbo was still after Stitch and was chasing Stitch down, and it eventually like led back to Lilo and Nani's house, and then yeah, it was like then a fight was ensuing with Stitch and Lilo against Jumba and Pleakley. Then it then ended up just eventually like ended up destroying Nani and Lilo's home. And then yeah, Cobra then like had arrived and like saw the scene of like just the house had been blown up, and then yeah, as he was preparing to take Lilo away, as Nani was arriving back home, Nani and Cobra were just like arguing amongst themselves, and then Lilo ended up like stowing off, and then like she ran into Stitch again, and then yeah, Stitch like ended up like revealing his true identity to Lilo, and Lilo like wasn't happy about it at first and just told Stitch to leave, but then yeah, Gantu then like ended up capturing both Stitch and Lilo, and like just locking them aboard his spaceship and starting to take off. But Stitch was able to escape, but Lilo was still trapped in as Gantu's ship headed off. And then as Nani was trying to confront a Stitch about where Lilo's actually going, as Stitch was trying to explain, Jumba and Pleakley ended up then capturing Stitch too. But then yeah, as Nani was like trying to tell the two of them about rescuing Lilo, they were just saying that they were only there for Stitch, but then it showed Nani breaking down, and Stitch then just brought up like a message that Lilo had told him, and also like Lilo and Nani had also known Ohana, which was like a Hawaiian term for family, and no one gets left behind. Right, and then that convinced Jumba and Pleakley to help rescue Lilo, so the four of them ended up giving chase on the spaceship to save Lilo. And so yeah, then Stitch like ended up like jumping like on uh Gantu's ship and just was trying to break Lilo out. And then at one point, as Gantu actually had blown Stitch off of the ship, and Stitch ended up like hijacking like some kind of a gas truck or something, and then he like placed it in lava, and then as Gantu like blasted at Stitch, and it just exploded and just blew Stitch right back aboard onto the ship, and he was eventually able to break Lilo free and get her out of there. And eventually, like, the Grand Councilwoman then, like, just ended up, like, landing down on the beach, and she was gonna take a Stitch into custody, and then she also ended up, retiring Gantu for kidnapping. But then after, like, uh, Cobra had reminded Lilo that she had adopted Stitch, and Lilo showed the councilwoman the license of the local law that Stitch was now Lilo's pet. And the councilwoman then just ended up like putting Stitch in exile on Earth and to be in the care of Lilo and Nani. And it was also revealed that the councilwoman had actually known a Cobra, and it was revealed that Cobra had used to be a CIA agent that she actually met in 1973, and she basically assigned Cobra to watch over them. And so then, yeah, they all then set off, and yeah, and Nani, Lilo, um, Jumbo and Pleakley, who they took in their family, along with a Cobra, David, and Stitch, all like just rebuilt their house, and then yeah, and then it just ended with like just footage of like Stitch with the new family life. It just showed Stitch with doing things like with the laundry and stuff, and just being with Lilo and Nani and stuff. And it showed like them like on a couple of holidays like Halloween and Christmas and stuff. Yeah, it just showed like them like having a new family life together, and that's how it ended. So yeah, really good movie. I mean, it has a lot like the connection between Lilo and Nani is done really well. Stuff with the aliens, still enjoyable. And yeah, a lot of like, and yeah, I did get a lot of laughs out of this. I mean, yeah, there's also I didn't even mention like this part with the record player has how when Stitch opened his mouth, like the music played, but when he shut it, like there was no music. Like that, it was really funny too. So yeah, it has like a lot of good humor like that and stuff that really does get a lot of laughs. So yeah, it definitely is a really good movie. You probably have already seen it, so I really don't need to actually recommend it. So yeah, a really good movie overall. Alright, so yeah, that is it for my review of Lilo and Stitch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.